There's quite a lot of damage on that island already. At least 15 roofs have come off, and there's damage to part of the roof of the hospital.
Are many of the buildings in the islands, are they prepared in terms of how they're constructed for this? Obviously, hurricanes are something that have happened before, but nothing this size. Yeah.
The answer is it varies. I mean, the more recently built, yes, because they meet contemporary standards of hurricane proofing. The older the buildings are, the more vulnerable they often are. People, of course, do try to improve them and renovate them and make them stronger. And there's been quite a deal of preparation by people to secure their houses, and where they're not securable, to leave the house and to go to the shelters, which the government is providing.
Do you know at what time it's expected to be at its worst?
Well, again, it depends from island to island. But for this island of Providenciales, the worst time is between, well, now, 7 o'clock and 2:30 in the morning, our time.
And have people evacuated? Are there shelters for people to go to?
There are. We put out evacuation orders on 2 islands on Tuesday and Wednesday, where there's a small population, and others in low-lying areas where there's a high risk of inundation. They've been encouraged to either go to other family or friends higher up on the island, or to go into the government-supplied shelters, which are open and are now getting pretty full.
Do you have any sense of how many people are in government-supplied shelters?
I don't know the exact number, I'm afraid, off the top of my head. But, I mean, for example, in Grand Turk, where there are 2 shelters operating, the figure must be of the order of 300.
A national shutdown, I understand, was declared today in the Turks and
pretty intense. Category 5 storms are rare. Some of us could go our entire careers in this line of work without seeing one and flying through one. So,
in Miami-Dade County, more than 6...
Just immediately as you start flying through the storm, you recognize the power of it. You know, you're flying through. It can be relatively smooth until you get to the eye wall area, and that's when you start really getting jostled around, go completely obscured with cloud cover and rain. And then what's unique about these major hurricanes is as soon as you hit that eye wall, you punch through that, and it just opens up into the clear blue sky and calm winds. So it's pretty incredible.
You talked about you could feel the power of the storm as you were flying through it. How do you feel that in an aircraft?
One example is there's something that we call slip. And so when you're flying through the storm, you know, you're trying to fly in at a straight line, but, you know, you're getting blown from the side so much, so we have a slip. So we were at about 35 degrees slip, which means to maintain a constant heading, we had to fly 35 degrees pointed the other direction. So that's just one example of how extremely strong this storm is.
The eye is incredibly large on this storm, and everybody I've talked to who's flown over it has just talked about how perfectly formed the eye is.
Right. Yeah. We measured it at 25 miles across, which is a large eye, and it perfectly symmetrical, perfect from a meteorological perspective. Yes, and they are rare, especially in this part of the world. So quite a unique and amazing storm.
We've seen, you know, 2 basically different tracks, the European model, the U.S. model. How confident are you in the tracking so far that it likely will hit Miami?
Well, it's important to note that, you know, as with the hurricane hunters, we're primarily data collectors. It's the National Hurricane Center that's putting out those official forecasts. So it's our job to gather that real-time reconnaissance data that's so crucial to them to be able to make those forecasts. So the Hurricane Center are the true experts when it comes to forecasting the storm. We provide the data that they need to be able to make those forecasts as accurately as possible. Well,
Major, I appreciate all the work you and everybody is doing right now. So thank you so much for talking to us.
Okay, thank you.
We're going to be hearing more shortly on the dimensions of this from someone crunching the data. Major DeHart, that is actually gathering. Ed Rappaport from the National Hurricane Center is going to join us shortly. As we said, IRMA already pummeled the island of Anguilla, leaving complete devastation in its wake. Josephine Gums-Connor rode out the storm, survived, but says her homeland looks like a nuclear bomb was dropped on, and I spoke with her a short time ago. Josephine, what was it like for you when the storm was at its worst?
I think that it's so incomprehensible, the significance of feeling the immense pressure at the time when it was at its worst. You know, we live in the hurricane belt. We are very familiar with hurricanes, and we prepare every year. We feel happy when we go through a year and there's none. And when we do have, you know, we've developed a really serious...
well, number one, they got to make up their minds whether they're going to stay.
And we feel proud with how we would normally be able to withstand these winds. But I think it was very, very clear when we heard the warnings from the National Hurricane Center that this was going to be the worst recorded storm in history. And it was the first time that even I felt the need to hunker into a bathroom when the winds got as tremendous as they did. They were every bit the 225-mile gusts that we anticipated.
What sort of damage have you seen?
Oh, Anguilla is a completely different place at the moment. If you talk about, for example, our essential services, our hospital, one hospital on the island, it's lost a good portion of its roof. One police station on its island, it's lost its roof. The courthouse lost its roof. The prison has lost its roof. All our schools are so severely damaged. They are basically open shells and open sepulchres. Our churches, open sepulchres. Our churches, seriously damaged. And we've had, you know, we pride ourselves on one church that was built back in 1830, one of the oldest churches here in Anguilla, completely destroyed, and it's a shell. It's just, the magnitude, Anderson, is just, it's, I keep saying incomprehensible because that's what we're seeing on the ground.
You actually ended up in your bathroom to try to ride out the storm? You felt that was the safest place?
You know, literally with what we were hearing outside, it felt, you felt the need. You had to move. The winds, I can't begin to, the zinging